Hi, very warm welcome to Dusty Shelf Collectables. Today, a pop culture release from Hot Wheels. Yeah, hi. So I've done a few of these videos about Hot Wheels cars. You'll see them on the site if you're interested. But they've tended to be the newer releases. So I've been playing catch up on the ones coming in from 2022. I was a little bit late to the party on those, and I've had the first set, the Fast and Furious set in for 2023. But I thought what I'd do is start digging back into the collection and picking some of the sets that I like from years gone by. So this is a 2017 set, released in the Pop Culture series by Hot Wheels, obviously. This one I particularly, as I say, I particularly like this one. It's based on the Beatles, and I have this actually hanging on the wall in the office. So it's always on display, and I particularly, I'm not a massive fan of the Beatles. Obviously, I like their music. I know a little bit about them. But I've seen the likes of Hornby and Corgi now picking up the brand, the Beatles brand, and putting them on wagons and locos and things. And I thought, well, obviously there's some popularity in this. And this set's still kind of affordable. So I've seen these, they have increased a little bit in price from when they first came out. I think these are about 60 for £70 now. And that's not too bad considering these are real riders, and they're the premium range. So they've got a good weight to them, and obviously the rubber wheels, etc. So yeah, I thought what we'll do is take these over to the bench as always, and we'll have a look through each of the cars. I'll tell you a little bit about them, and I'll take some detailed photos. Yeah, so as I say, a 2017 set. These are all real riders, all with rubber tyres. As you can see, real riders there. They're a fantastic set. Set of 5 in here. You don't have a chase car as far as I'm aware. And as I say, these are part of the pop culture release on here. So let's start with number 1, which is 1967 Austin minivan. So this is a commercial panel van. Forget the Beatles for a minute. Look at that model. It's fantastic. The lights on the front and the grille. I do love minis anyway, so I'm not going to go into details about Mini because everybody knows about them. But obviously, British icon, and yeah, combine it in with another British icon of the Beatles. So yeah, so Sgt. Pepper, the album, released in 1967, had hits on it. Let me think. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, obviously, with a little help from my friends, and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. In terms of the Hot Wheel, obviously got the iconic costumes printed on the side here, Beatles on the side, Beatles on the back, got some logos on the top here. I'll get a picture of these, I'll put these in as I'm talking, and you'll see them on the obviously on the video. The casting itself was first used in 2012, and this will be the 8th outing for this minivan, and the last time it was used, so this is the 8th outing of this van in 2017, and the last time it was used was in 2022. On the back of the packet, all the packet reverse are the same, so you've got the 5 cars in the series on there, so I won't go through the back of the packet on the other ones. So that's the minivan. Right, number 2 in the set is the dairy truck. So Dairy Delivery is the name of the Hot Wheel. Based on the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night album. The casting is based on a 1985 Divco milk truck. Now, it does say that there are milk crates inside that you can see through the rear window. My eyes aren't good enough for that, so I really don't know. But anyway, onto the album. So Hard Day's Night, the 3rd album released in 1964. It was also the soundtrack of the film by the same name. On the album, things like Hard Day's Night, obviously, Should Have Known Better, Tell Me Why, and You Can't Buy Me Love, some real classics on there. The livery on the wagon obviously takes from the album cover. You can see the heads of the 4 Beatles there. There's some writing on the back there. I'm afraid my eyes aren't good enough to read that, but I will get a zoom in shot. Yeah, so this casting was first used in 1998. It looks like it's done its rounds. It's over 50 times it's been released. And this one being the final commercial release as far as I can tell. There was a subsequent collector's edition, but this I think was the final commercial release for this casting. Yeah, on to number 3. So Ford Transit Supervan. I mean, this is the classic Transit shape. Absolutely fantastic Hot Wheel. Looks really, really good, really detailed. I do love this this casting. Anyway, on to what's on the Beatles. So it's the album Rubber Soul, 6th album released in 1965. I'm not overly familiar with this one. The only song I recognise off of it is Drive My Car. But what they've done is taken, obviously, again, the album livery, printed that onto the side of the van, as you can see. Got the four heads of the Beatles there and Rubber Soul. There is something written on the back here. I'm going to take a close-up picture in a minute and put that into the video. I can't read it with my eyes. It's not that clear, but obviously there's something on there. In terms of the casting, this is a 2015 casting, fourth outing that it was used, and it was last used in 2022. So again, just to reiterate, this set is 2017, so it's 5-6 years old now. So that's number 3. Right, moving on to number 4, Hauling Gas. So this is a 1933 Diamond Doodlebug. What a fantastic looking thing this is. Not particularly detailed Hot Wheel, but still pretty cool, So the Doodlebugs were basically an American tanker truck that was used by Texaco in the 1930s for advertising. And obviously this Hot Wheel is, you know, as with all the things, this is based on the Beatles. Magical Mystery Tour, I guess it's probably the right one for that that album. It's very futuristic looking, very hippie-ish, if you like. The album itself, that was released in 1967 and was the soundtrack to the film by the same name. Obviously, there's a few quite famous ones on here. Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane, obviously the Magical Mystery Tour. There's a good few classic tracks on there, including I Am the Walrus, that's on this album. In terms of the Hot Wheels, it was first used in 2011. This is the 10th outing for it, and it was last used again in 2022. I will get some detail. Again, there's some writing on the back here. I can't read it with my eyes, but you'll see it in the pictures as I'm talking. So that's number 4 in the set. Yeah, so finally is the Highway Hauler, so featuring the Beatles' White Album. Now, the album itself, released in 1968, I'm not over familiar with. It's got Back in the USR on it, and that strange one, Obladi Oblada, however you pronounce it, on there. I'm not over familiar with all of the other records on there, so I'm not going to list them out. But yeah, fantastic looking Hot Wheel. Obviously the cover, not a lot on there. It was called the White Album for obvious reason. It's got on there, and I think I read somewhere that it followed the Magical Mystery Tour in 1968. So you've got obviously a contrast between all the psychedelic colours on there, and then you've got the White Album to follow with very little on there. Might have actually been Sgt. Pepper's that it followed, but it was one of the bright covers that it then followed to sort of contrast it. Yeah, so this casting's been around for a little while. It first came out in 1980. There's been several reincarnations of it. This one, I believe, is the Highway Hauler 2, the Highway Hauler 1 coming out in 1992. And since 1992, there's been about 50 odd releases. It's more than 50, I would say. So it really has been around the block. And again, this casting is going to be used in a 2023 release of the Disney 100. I believe that's out now. I haven't got that in yet, but yes, as I say, 2023 release, so it's still going strong. And I think, you know, given the modern look of it, it's a fantastic looking Hot Wheel. So there you go. So that's the Beatles set from 2017, just to give you a bit of an overview of what's in there. Like I say, if you enjoy this sort of thing, I do review the odd Hot Wheel set, so do subscribe. And yeah, thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.